Andrea, are you ready to talk about Mystery 101 Words Can Kill, where Amy has to be more concerned about murders on the campus of Elmstead than her students using ChatGPT to write their crime fiction midterms?
I mean, ChatGPT wasn't a thing back in the day.
Well, just ruined my whole fun intro, but that's
Sorry.
fine. But you're injecting logic and realism into our discussions. What what's wrong with
Sorry.
you? We
I'm
have
being a
no
human. I'm not a robot. What can I say?
we have no space for that.
All
Let's move on. This
right.
is Eric.
This is Andrea
This is Hallmark Mysteries
and
and more.
more.
Well, so I have to say what's interesting is while we're not having a lot of the new mysteries, we're having a lot of people send messages about complaining, where are the new mysteries? Where is this, that, and the other? The other thing, the positive note, a lot of people are really liking the British mysteries. They're liking Rosemary and Thyme. They're liking Shakespeare and Hathaway. I've not had anyone comment on the other two, but they're also getting over and we're getting a lot of people recommending other mysteries over from Acorn and BritBox. So, if you're not getting what you want from Hallmark, what I would say is maybe try if you don't have one of those services, look at trying them because there's a lot of the other cozies with a lot of episodes. As you know, we know from the Rosemary and Thyme, that was a short one with 3 episodes. I talked about the Midsummer that had 144 episodes. That's like, up your Murder She Wrote stuff. So there is a lot of really good content out there. Plus, there's Wild Cards that's going right now. There's
Poker
Private
Face.
Eyes. There's Poker Face. There's a lot of other good
Diagnosis
mysteries.
Murder. I'm going to throw that in again.
So, oh yeah, you get if you're Hallmark Plus, like I said, there's
I'm
you can do
wondering,
Diagnosis Murder.
like, if they're going to keep releasing a mystery like they've been doing. It seems on Thursday they are dropping some older mysteries on Hallmark Plus. So
Maybe.
that seems to be a trend.
All right.
Want to dive in?
Let's talk Mystery 101. Words
Words can
can kill.
kill. When a guest at the college book festival is killed, Amy and Travis clash after he arrests an unlikely person for murder. Amy must fight to prove he's got the wrong person behind bars. Well, last week I was loving Mystery 101. I am back in the gutter. 2 out of 5. Oh, Murder We Wrote. That was the festival name. And I was excited. I'm like, I'm going to be all in on this. We have
I
like a
thought of you.
Murder She Wrote tie. And then it just never went anywhere. It was kind of boring. Like I struggled to get through this one. You can tell we were in that 2019 era as the male lead. I feel like Kristoffer Polaha had to take a back seat to Jill in terms of lines. It really felt like they were like, whoa, we came out of the gate way too hot. We got to rein him back in and we cannot let him overstep Jill. And there was a lot of longer monologues. Those put me to sleep when we are just talking one to one and we're not really doing anything with the movie besides have these conversation. This is also what I think I've come to the realization. I'm not a big fan of the setting. I don't like the college as the main setting. I just find, I don't know if it feels kind of sterile to me, but it's kind of boring as a backdrop. And I struggle if the setting is poor, I'm kind of out. Like for Aurora, like I like the library and how they have that, the bakery, and Hannah. But this one, the setting is not, it does not do anything for me. And I struggle when we have the Mystery 101s at the colleges where that's a big backdrop. That's something I think I'm learning after the two that I haven't liked. That's been a primary setting. The two murders and not being connected to the same person was interesting, I thought. The stalker clearly had some mental health issues with her husband. And then the other female lead was also, kind of obsessed with Graham. We have a lot of that energy going on in this movie. So overall, it didn't work for me. Even though they tried to throw some different red herrings in there, I just wasn't super invested in them. So what about you?
I gave it a 3.5.
So we don't agree.
I I liked it, and for some of the, maybe the different reasons most people like it, but we didn't get one, we didn't get two murders, we got three. And as you said, the one was sort of separate, so that's kind of interesting. But I have to think, has there ever? Can you think of another Hallmark mystery that has three dead bodies? Like there's been some two.
Well, we could ask Chat GPT.
Well, Chappy GPT also can lie, I hate
Oh,
to say.
100%. Yes, it does all the time.
So I had one recently come up where I was doing some research and it gave me like such a terrible answer. I was like, oh my. I did have fun with it. And I have to say, unlike you, I thought it was sort of the best of the first three.
Yep.
Now, has it gotten to where I would put them in like the really good ones? No. I think we are going into five, six, seven are all really strong mysteries. And I was so far off with Steve Basic. I guess I was just so excited to get them. Education for Murder and Words Can Kill. It's sort of like you were joking a little before
I
we started
know.
recording.
I
The
maybe that's
title's
why I didn't like it, Eric. I went
kind of
in thinking, "Where's
confused.
Steve Basic?" and he never showed up.
And so, I'll admit I got confused. And we both know Mystery 101 isn't yours or mine favorite one. So yes, I do sometimes get the order confused and
I
everything
bet
in
you
the
got
titles.
messages about
So
that too, huh?
I got this. What?
Did you get messages about that?
I honestly didn't. No,
Wow.
I'm not. We're not. I think all the Mystery 101 people maybe know that we're not like completely
Gung
gaga over
ho.
it, and so
Yeah.
they just avoid us. That's my guess. But did you finally see Amy's magnifying necklace this time? Because she's wearing it
Um,
again.
Eric, yes, I did. And save that for the trivia. I have
Oh,
updates for you.
oh, all right. I
So
do not have any trivia,
save
and
that.
I'm like checking my text messages because I do not have anything. I waited too long to ask
Aw.
for some
Well,
behind
I
the
have
scenes
two
stuff.
fun trivias. So
I have just one, but we moved over to Andy Makita for the director, and I think he did a better job. He's directed several episodes of Virgin River. He also did Morning Show Mysteries and Murder Ever After and Riddled with Deceit, Martha's Vineyard Mysteries. Not a big fan of Martha's Vineyards, but that's a whole other thing. So I thought it was a little bit, once again, I'm just putting it compared to the first two. I thought this was a little step up. Clearly not where we're going to be getting to later. But maybe one of the things that why I did get enjoyment out of it compared to you was John was just dropping the Agatha Christie references left and right through this one. So he mentioned the murder of Roger Ackroyd in it, which, for those who don't know, that's Agatha Christie, one of her earlier, I think it's like her fifth maybe book, but it's the was credited with essentially being the invention of the unreliable narrator, and as a result is considered a classic. I thoroughly, if you have not read that book and you like the mysteries, they're golden age mysteries, not necessarily cozy, but it is, I think, fantastic. Kind of sucks that I went into it knowing that it was unreliable narrator. So Brooke over at Cozy Mysteries, she had told me about it, and so I like listened to it. It'd been great not to know that, but then also he drops a little pro in with the little gray cells in your head. So if you got some Agatha Christie, that's giving it an extra bonus point for me. And we both know John loves referencing there. That's why part of Mystery Island I really like. And then I don't know if this should go a mystery minute or not, so we'll use this maybe as a segue to it. But I found it very humorous how Travis is like, Amy, you can't come with me. I've got to do this one by the book, and then spends the rest of the movie letting Amy just trample the book and dragging her everywhere and just doing all the things that a nosy sleuth shouldn't be doing. And Travis encouraging her the whole way after lecturing her, this one has to be by the book. So I found that kind of a little funny. I wouldn't say fun, more of a funny twist. And you know what? I am going to get hate now. I bagged on the character of Graham in the first one. I will say, I don't think that Jill Wagner's acting in this one was stellar. We'll just leave it as that. I don't want to go too hard into it, but I've seen her deliver better performances. We'll just say that.
Well, Mystery Minute. I did recall who did this one, but I think they had enough twists, red herrings to kind of throw you off, especially since they weren't really all connected per se. Like they threw enough in there, which did you need all of them? No, but I suppose did it help you kind of throw in some guesses of like, oh, maybe it was this, maybe it was that. Sure. Um, I thought it was okay. Again, it was an okay mystery. I mean, I would say of the mysteries, maybe all of the mysteries in Mystery 101, like they're not bad, but the movie itself is what loses me.
Right.
That's
Right.
right. As I'm like thinking of this, I'm like, no, I think it's the actual just the surrounding
All
pieces
right.
that lose me. The mysteries, those are okay. It's everything else that I don't
It's funny because that's usually the exact opposite of how
like.
I think. But then when we go over when we talked about our May movies, it's not a surprise.
No, we're just opposite.
And to think, Andrew, the reason why I wanted you to be the co-host is because I thought we thought so similarly. And as we now share all our movies, we're, I think, opposite more than we are close. Do you have any more Mystery Minute or should I dive into mine?
Hit it.
How do amateur sleuths always get the best headshots for their murder boards? We see it in Curious Cater. Actually, Curious Cater had a great one in the foiled when they did the. Remember when they did the characters and then the final one, they did the stick figure for the character drawer one. But just in general, the amateur sleuths always have these murder boards that have these perfect headshots of all
That
their
is true.
suspects, which I don't understand, but it always happens. But whatever, here nor there. This is Hallmark Mysteries, right? I thought it was a good mystery because I don't think, well, like you, I knew who it was because I've seen it and everything like that. But I thought it was not obvious. I thought they did a pretty good job with red herrings and all of that. I will say though, I think, and as you know, I'm a fan of John, but when you do an extra murder in there, it usually should somehow tie back. And it just seemed the murder seemed random. It could have
Yeah.
had the same thing of her being a stalker, her husband
Yeah.
there, and just be that red thing. The murder, I think, kind of wasn't necessary.
Yeah, I agree there
So it
too.
didn't add to the movie. That's the thing. And if you're going to have a murder, it should add to it. Uh, I also was like, why does a killer or person just in general, oh, I'm going to go talk to this person who's known for having a hot temper, so I'm going to grab something for self-defense. I grab this big ass owl paper. Like that's not what I'd grab. I'd grab a stick or something like that. It seemed like a weird thing to take with you, a 10-pound owl. But whatever. That was just kind of weird. And then I will say, if you are a Hallmark fan and all of a sudden there's someone who starts being a love interest of a secondary character, a primary secondary character, you know that's the killer, right? We could talk about that more later, but so there's that. Like I said, I thought it was pretty good. I've seen it enough times where the mystery, I know the mystery, so the red herrings didn't quite land for me, but there were good ones and they were plausible, so that was all good.
Well, romance, I mean, we've talked about them, as having great chemistry. I think they were great when they were on screen together. But again, I did feel that distance of like, hey, take a back seat to Jill type of energy in this movie. Which I'm assuming if you have watched the first few, I'm based on what Bill did, it's probably like, hey, this is too much. Let's reset the
Yeah.
balance. Because at some time I was like, where is, Travis Burke? Like he's not even like he was kind of absent for a good chunk of the movie. So then it's kind of hard to have that chemistry build up. They were again when they were on screen, great, but he wasn't in it as much as I feel like he could have been or should have been.
I think it's very obvious that Travis is smitten with Amy because if there's a break in and nothing is stolen, the police are going to go, okay, great. We'll file that and never go back to it again. And Travis makes it a top priority to investigate the break in with nothing stolen and utilizing Garrison Police Force resources to do that, of which wouldn't happen. So clearly, the only thing you can say is while Travis does a big lecture, we can't be about the who, we don't want any biases in there. He has his bias and he is smitten with Amy.
Well, character corner. I picked, no surprise here, Phil Jank, who is the messy, dirty cop played by Eric Keenlayside, who you just mentioned, Martha's Vineyard Mysteries. He is the cop in Martha's Vineyard Mysteries and is the dad to the leading lady there. So he has been in different mysteries, not just this one. You know, he's in different movies as well
Right.
for Hallmark. So I always enjoy him as an actor. Um, he's I think it's his voice. Like his voice is very calming. You should do like a meditation like that. That's a very just calming voice to me. And so I feel like
Which
whenever
is
he's
funny
on
considering his
screen,
character, but
yes, true.
a shady cop.
But he's just a chill character that kind of mellows out. So seeing him in a kind of different role, because usually he's the good guy, that was kind of fun to see. So he was my standout character. What about you?
So I didn't go for the character, I went for the scene. And
Oh,
I say I found it hilarious at the beginning of the movie when Graham is all up in arms saying, they want me to make movies, that's selling out. I am going to go tell my new editor, no way, absolutely not. She's going to, Amy, I want you to come watch me, give her a piece of my mind and get a good lesson of that. And they're sitting there and he's all riled up, ready to go. And she walks in and she's just drop dead gorgeous. And he just pretty much like, whatever you want, and just flipped. And as I bagged on Amy's acting a little earlier, she was magical, just looking at her going, what the hell are you doing, Dad? Because it's so obvious that all your bravado just went out the window to, as soon as you saw this gorgeous editor woman with the British accent. So I thought that was an absolutely hilarious scene and I enjoyed it.
well, I'll Hallmark trivia. So the first one, I will stay with the Phil Jank. So Phil Jank introduces himself as Phil Jank from Reno Police. Kristoffer Polaha was born and raised in Reno. So I don't know if that's why they did that,
Uh,
but kind of fun. Then let's go back to Amy's necklace that you mentioned. So Amy wears a clue game piece on a necklace or a magnifying glass on a chain in this film. Her office also has clue game pieces as statues. So there's a rope, a lead pipe,
Interesting.
a gun, wrench, candlestick, and knife can be seen in the background.
I
So
love that.
next time that you watch, you'll have to look for those little pieces in her office.
Well, the question is, are they going to be in the next one, or are they in
I don't
this?
know, but
I
I
hope
thought that
so
was kind of
because
fun,
that is
isn't
absolutely.
it?
I'm sitting here looking around my office right now, going, I want to get those. That is fantastic decor. Way to go,
Yes.
Amy. I
Yes.
love it. So mine is more of a little goof. And when Graham's arrested, he's in this sort of shirt and I don't know if it's jacket or sweater, whatever. And they fingerprint him and they do everything. And then they take his headshot, his mugshot, and he's wearing like an orange shirt. And I'm like, oh, I guess he had to change into his jail wear or something like that. And then they go back to the next scene where they're like taking him down the hall and everything like that. And he's back in his original outfit. So the continuity, that's got to be a continuity error of where this orange shirt for that one just little scene when they take the mugshot. So watch it. If it
Yes.
makes sense, tell me why, but it seems like a continuity error and a weird one too, because it's like such a dramatically different outfit. So I don't know if they shot it where they did put him in some sort of jail wear and then they shot it again another way and then the editing, they're like, what the hell? We'll just go with this.
Well, Hallmark and chill. The recommendation from me today is Murder She Wrote. We are going to deep into Murder She Wrote, season 11, episode 12,
Isn't
Murder
that like
of.
halfway into Murder She Wrote?
No, it's only 12 seasons.
Oh,
Murder of the Month Club. The taping of an infomercial by Jessica and two fellow novelists is plagued by problems, including the mysterious death of an audience member.
ooh,
I do enjoy this one. So some of the later ones aren't always my
Right.
favorite episodes, but this is actually a really good episode towards the later end of the season. So, or of the series. So I would highly recommend checking this one out.
Interesting. Now, is it a closed room one too, where everyone, there's got to be like, how did it happen inside the studio audience there, or is it like they
Not
murdered
really.
elsewhere?
They were
Okay.
murdered there, but it was like
Okay.
after hours, so people can
Gotcha.
come and go.
All right. I thought it was like in there.
Not
Okay.
quite.
Interesting. So season 11, because I do know you have said towards the end it gets a
It's a
little
little,
bit
yeah, it's a
rougher.
little, because I was kind
Uh,
of scrolling through to see which ones to watch. And I'm like, oh, well, this one, because I was kind of thinking of which ones are like, since we had the book festival, the murder we wrote. I'm like, of
right.
course, I have to do a murder she wrote episode.
Well, what a
Duh.
shocker that you have to do a murder sheet. So for me, I went with the theme of the introduced the love interest to the secondary character there. So we recently talked about Gracielle Mystery and Novel Murder when Danny starts dating the novelist who turns out to be the psychotic killer, and then Rosemary and Thyme, episode one, season one, episode five, the simple plot when Rosemary starts dating the psychotic
Mm,
killer.
that one's a
So
good
now
one.
I will say Cecilia wasn't, well, actually, I will put her as a psychotic killer because she didn't kill just once, which you could say, okay, I was in a rage and it accidentally happened moment thing. She killed two people. So, and went through, the second one was pretty planned. So we'll put her in the psychotic killer one too. So if you like the psychotic killer love interest of the thing, there's two good ones. And both of those, by the way, I'll say are better, better ones than this one too. Because novel murders, I'm not a Gracielle mystery, and that is a fantastic
Told you.
mystery, fantastic
Yeah.
episode. And Rosemary and Thyme, the simple plot.
That, yeah. So that still one of my
We
favorites.
we loved that one too. So
Yeah. Although
there we
I'm
go.
on season 3 of Rosemary and Thyme, and the first episode of season 3, it's a longer one again. That is my favorite of the longer episodes
Okay,
for Rosemary and Thyme.
because
That
you
was a
said
really good
season
one.
two was a little
Didn't like
just
that one as
mediocre.
much. But yeah, season 3, it's coming back strong. So I'm really enjoying season 3 of Rosemary and Thyme.
Okay.
Well, next week, though, we are actually going to stay with Mystery 101 Dead Talk because we don't have our new mystery out yet. Fingers crossed that Hannah doesn't get pulled because at this point, we don't know. Maybe it will get pulled and we'll keep going with Mystery 101. But Hannah is still set to be airing. We will see if they do on June 22nd. It is not on the Hallmark app. That also has me concerned is when they don't put it on that Hallmark app, which they never did for
That's
Mystery
weird.
Island. That's where, and they've been kind of a little slow to get those mysteries up on the app. So then it's more set in stone. So Mystery Island never made it to the app.
There's no way Hannah could not have, because Hannah has too big of an audience. Allison Sweeney, Mr. Island is,
I mean, they have all the
a love it, hate
actors
it.
and Crystal announcing Crystal Lowe because I think she directed, and
Right.
they've all announced that it's releasing. So you wouldn't think Hallmark would pull another one, but
And it's got to happen because the lovely, the talented, the magnificent Barbara Niven said
yeah,
she will come on the podcast.
yes.
She's filming right now a holiday movie, so she can't do
Ooh,
it yet. Then I'm on vacation, and so we're trying to schedule it there. But oh my gosh, talking to Barbara Niven, that's going to be like that Leah Thompson type thing where I'll be just hard pressed to talk because she is Barbara Niven, right? So let's hope that can happen. Fingers so crossed. Fingers and toes.
all
Okay, Andrea,
right.
until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark Channel.